We are back. Welcome, everybody, to the Warmies, live here in Calgary, Alberta on this Thursday evening. The Calgary Flames have 26 games remaining in the 2025-26 NHL regular season, and they kick off the final third of that season tonight against the San Jose Sharks. Glad to have you along with us. I'm your host, Mike Gould, here from the Sports Interaction Studio. And it's going to be a fun one tonight. We've been waiting a while. I mean, everybody, of course, got excited for the Olympics, but to another degree, if you're anything like me, and maybe you are, maybe you're not, but if you are, you're really waiting for the season to get back in gear so we can maybe see what is in the offing for this Calgary Flames team, not just on the ice, but off the ice. In fact, especially off the ice. That's where things are really going to kick into gear here as we continue this season. We'll kick things off with some stuff about tonight's game. It's the Flames against the Sharks at the Shark Tank in San Jose. Opening puck drop slated for 8 p.m. Calgary time. Well, it's just past 7 Calgary time. We're getting going pretty early here today, and you're absolutely right. This is going to be an extra special, jam-packed edition of the Warmies. But we got a couple of guests. We got a new sponsor we're going to tell you about in a minute here. And there's just so much to get to. We haven't been on the air in 3 weeks. And the Flames only have 5 games left until the 2026 trade deadline. We can't waste a moment. And I'm glad that you're all here along with us. We'll kick things off with a look at the opening betting lines from the folks over at Sports Interaction, where every game is your game. Get into the action with parlay boosts, live betting, and easy deposits and payouts. Bet now at sportsinteractioncom/FlamesNation 19 plus. Please play responsibly. And as we have a look here at Calgary versus San Jose, the money line certainly favoring the Sharks at -130. The Flames at +110. The Flames, however, they are 2-1 against the Sharks this year. They shut out the Sharks in Calgary on November 13th, 2-0. They beat the Sharks again in Calgary on Jan 31, 3-2, one of the last games before the Olympic break. However, their only game in San Jose this year was a 6-3 loss to the Sharks back on December the 16th. That was a game in which Max Celebrini had 4 points and really took it to the Calgary Flames. As you can see there, the over-under tonight set at 6.5 and the spread at 1.5. The regular time result, Flames at +165, +125 for the Sharks. And if you want to say it'll go to overtime, that is at +290. So that's an early look at your betting lines from the folks over at Sports Interaction, which brings you closer to the action with real-time betting. You can bet while the action unfolds. You can build your bet with same-game parlays. We'll get to one of those in a minute here. It is just truly a trusted Canadian brand since 1997. Of course, if at any time you want to get involved further with our edition of the Warmies Show, you can do that through the Super Chat as well. Super Chats proceeds benefit the youth centers of Calgary, so get those in there. You have a full hour to put those into the chat and help out some folks who are in need, especially as the weather is about to get a little bit colder this coming weekend. The Calgary Flames have not played a game in, as we said, about 3 weeks. And there are no shortage of games in the NHL this evening. They're one of 12 games on the docket. Flames versus Sharks, one of the last ones to go live, as we mentioned, at 8 o'clock p.m. Some others that are just worth discussing before we really get into it. We do have a guest joining us in about 5 minutes, but we will get through some stuff right off the hop here. Games that are relevant to the Flames draft positioning. Well, the St. Louis Blues, thanks to Jordan Kyrou's 14th goal of the year, just took a 2-1 lead over the Seattle Kraken early in the second period of their game at the Enterprise Center in St. Louis. Capo Caco and Dylan Holloway have the other goals in that one. Holloway has been injured for quite a while. He is back for the St. Louis Blues here now that the Olympics are complete. Another one that is relevant for the Flames as well, the New York Rangers. Sam Carrick has his 4th goal of the year, and the Rangers are up 1-0 over the Philadelphia Flyers after one period at Madison Square Garden. The Rangers out shooting the Flyers 9-5, and they'll start the second period on a power play for 1:11. So some relevant stuff there if you are, keeping a close eye on the lottery, which you should be, as the Flames currently in 29th place in the National Hockey League at this juncture of the season. They're going to have good draft lottery odds. They've never picked top 3. They've never won a draft lottery. So every little point counts. And we'll get into a little bit more of that as we move forward here. Only 2 games have not yet begun in the NHL tonight. The other one is Edmonton in LA to take on the Kings. Don't know if you saw that Oilers-Ducks game last night. The Oilers were leading. They ended up losing in regulation 6-5 against the Anaheim Ducks. And the Oilers now have the 8th best points percentage in the entire Western Conference. So they are in danger of maybe falling out of things going up against a Kings team that is currently in 10th place in the Western Conference. In 9th, the San Jose Sharks, who enter tonight's game 27-24-4. They've lost 3 in a row, though, all in regulation. The Flames won their last game prior to the Olympic break against the Edmonton Oilers in what feels like an eternity ago, but really wasn't that long ago. So it'll be Flames, Sharks wrapping up their season series tonight, game 4 of 4 between those two teams this season. Joining us in just a matter of moments, we will have Ryan Pinder coming to us live on location, I think from maybe one of his kids' hockey games or something like that. But it's always great to have some of our fellow show hosts joining us on the Warmies. As well, we will have our buddy Ryan Pike coming up at just past the bottom of the hour to take us through a couple of the bigger pieces that came out over at Flames Nation during the Olympic break, because there has been a lot of progress in a number of different areas related to the Flames and also some cool stuff that's happened off the ice. So we'll get to that in some time. Before we get Pinder onto the show, we will talk about just a couple things that came out today. Obviously, with all the stuff going around the Flames right now, everybody's talking about trades. Everybody's talking about the big players who might be on their way out for the Calgary Flames. And Michael, I think we've got the forward lines queued up. Let's have a look at them for the Calgary Flames before we get to Pinder, just to look at, maybe some of the places where holes will open up in this lineup. Because as we see it right now, we're not expecting anybody from that top line to move. Sharangovich, Backlund, and Coronado, they're all pretty much locked in. That second line, though, Nazem Kadri, that is the big one. Nazem Kadri, number 2 center as it stands for this Flames team. And as it stands, it seems like it's maybe a 61 way, 40 the other way that Nazem Kadri will be traded between now and the March 6th trade deadline. Of course, the sticking point seems to be the term on his contract. He's got 3 years left after this one at a $7 million cap hit. But then again, teams are looking to win. They're looking to upgrade at center, and Kadri is maybe as good a center as there is available on the market right now. Pierre LeBrun had an interesting piece out in The Athletic today talking about how what might expedite a Kadri move at some point is getting a little bit more clarity on guys like Ryan O'Reilly and Vinny Trocheck, who are also on the block from other teams. If those guys move, or if they don't move, we might see teams circling around Kadri a little bit more. That trade that Colorado made, though, trading for Brett Kulak, moving Sam Girard's salary off their books, does feel like they were freeing up some cap space for something big. Michael, let's put that just back up there just for one more second, as there's a couple more names I just want to have a quick look at. Blake Coleman on this third line. This is one that everybody seems to think will happen. Blake Coleman, 1 year left after this one at a $4.9 million cap hit. Everybody seems to expect that Blake Coleman will be on the move. His family did not come with him back to Calgary. They have their own place down in Texas that they're staying at. His wife is expecting. And we might see Blake Coleman going to Dallas or to Tampa. There's a variety of teams that we believe are interested in Blake Coleman. Of course, the Flames have one more salary cap retention slot left. And then the other one that's kind of interesting is Ryan Lomberg. And talking about Ryan Lomberg, I want to invoke a piece that went live today at Daily Faceoff. We will get to Pinder in just a second. But if the Flames do trade Ryan Lomberg, is it possible that maybe we see him come back in the summer? Just before we bring on Pinder, Michael, can you put up the screenshot from the Daily Faceoff article? The borrowed stars, players who return to former teams after deadline trades. Encourage you to go check this one out over at Daily Faceoff. We'll get into it a little bit later on in the show as well. And of course, Lomberg's not a star, but if you trade this guy, you send him to a team that maybe needs a little bit more veteran savvy. Is that a guy who maybe returns to Calgary? We've seen him return to Calgary once before. Could he do it again? Lots to dig into, and we'll get to the defenseman in a minute. But for now, joining us live from Rose-Con Arena, I understand it, down in the heart of southwestern Calgary, just off McLeod Trail. We're not going to dox him too much. but our buddy Ryan Pinder is here in the studio, and I'm not sure if we're able to bring him in. Here he is.
I'm here. How are you? What's going on?
Ryan, how are you doing, my buddy?
Good. We got the U11s just got off the ice. It was a final practice before city championships, so spirits are high here just off McLeod on Heritage.
Wow, they got to be past the trade deadline there. Holy smokes! I mean, those.
Yeah, there's no trades, Mike. It's no. U11.
I know. Hey, Ryan, how was your Olympic break, buddy? What'd you get up to?
It was great. We took the main show to Banff for 3 or 4 days, and the gold medal game we live streamed obviously from the studio. That was an early Sunday morning, but I enjoyed the tournament, but I don't think they've perfected it. I don't know that we need to see the Italys and the Frances and the Denmarks. They can play for the right to be in the tournament, but I think an 8-team tournament, if I was the NHL and the PA, I would make a World Cup 8 teams and have a playoff for teams 7 through 12 if you want. Invite the Kazakhstans, the Austrias, the Frances, whatever. Whether Russia or Belarus are allowed is obviously a political thing, but I enjoyed the tournament, but I think there was lessons to be learned in terms of how you can make it even better. Like the preliminary round, we might have had 1 or 2 good games. Canada, Czechia, and then Finland, Sweden. Like what else of those other 9 games did it felt relevant?
Yeah, definitely.
Or it was just minnow on minnow.
Absolutely. It kind of feels like we need a middle ground between the 4 nations and the 12 nations. It's you kind of hit it on the head. Hey,
8 nations.
8 nations facing off. Did you get up for the gold medal game, Pinder? What was that like?
As I said, we streamed that one from the studio, so we were up early and in there.
See, I don't watch our shows. I don't. You
also don't listen when I tell you things a minute ago, but that's okay. We'll keep moving, Mike. We'll pretend it didn't happen.
We're doing great. Hey, it's good stuff. So, we're back into the swing of things here. We're getting back into the swing of things. Flames have 5 games left before the playoffs. Pinder, we talk. We were on the shows before the break talking about who we wanted to see move. What do you feel like is the order of operations here? Because it seems like some people seem to think that there's a Coleman trade that has to be a prerequisite to a Kadri trade. They have to figure out what they're going to do with the retention slot. How do you think this is all going to shake out?
I don't know. And I think here's the thing. There's lots of different forces. There's like what you would want to do first, what's easy to get done, and then what demands time and patience for the market to settle. So if you're moving Kadri, for example, someone might really want Vinny Trocheck. And until he gets moved, they might not say, okay, I'm ready for Kadri now. They'll say, I like him, but I'm in the Vinny sweepstakes. And if I don't get Vinny, then I'm going to call you Craig on Nazem. So, you can't really control an example like that. Whereas I don't think there is a better checking, leading, cup-winning winger available. I think Coleman's sort of the lead of that group. If they wanted to do it today, they could. But then the challenge is teams might ask for some retention. And you're like, well, shoot, we might need that retention slot for Nazem. You've only got 1 left. So you could see how you could build the case for any of them to go first. Either of them to go first. But I think if you wanted something really easily to get done, I would move Brayden Pachal for a late pick immediately and call up Hunter Brstevich. They've got 5 righties. And Pachal could help a contender as a 7-8. He's not going to play here. He's hardly played. And we haven't even really seen Parekh and Brstevich settle in at the same time. So that's an easy one, but it's certainly not the big one that everyone's, dreaming up in their heads at work.
It feels crazy to me that we're sitting here on Feb 26 and we're saying the Flames need to be strategic about how they use their last salary retention slot. When this is a team that, we're talking 5 years ago, they never used one. And now here we are. Right. They used it for the first time with Dave Riddick. And now they've used 2 and they might use a 3rd and they'll push back when they might use another one after some of these contracts come off the books. Does it feel like things are a little bit different? Does it feel like the Flames are approaching this differently than they may have in a similar spot 10 years ago?
It does, but they're in a different part of their life cycle too, right? Like when Treliving was here, it was a lot more adding than sales at the deadline. And when you're adding, you're asking other teams to eat salary. And, there was a couple exceptions. They sold a Curtis Glenncross and some other guys like Chris Russell along the way. But generally speaking, they were in that buy posture more than sell. And I think that's why that would be one variable. But I do think there's probably been, maybe a fear at first, or at least a perception that it wasn't something they do, that the more you look at it, the more it makes sense. Like, well, why would I pay that? And it's like, well, you're actually only paying a fraction of the salary that you're moving out. Like you're actually saving the owner money. Like if Jacob Markstrom was still here, you'd be spending more on your roster. So, you could frame it as spending, but it's actually, you eat 1 point whatever of Markstrom's 6-ish or whatever he was making. And the other team's actually paying, the other 60% of it. But it's a tool to get more in return. And when you're in this mode and phase of their life cycle that they are, which is to move on veterans, collect assets, get young players, hope to be better in the coming years. If it's just $1 million here or there and you're already 20 million under the cap, like I feel like the owner can't really be worried about how much it costs to ice a hockey team these days.
Yeah, big time. Hey, 26 games left. It all starts tonight, only 5 until the deadline. Who are maybe the 1 or 2 biggest players who you're looking to see a big game from tonight?
For the Flames tonight, you're saying?
Yeah.
We haven't seen Coleman back, so that'll be interesting. I'd say the same about John Beecher, but he's not really an event hockey player. He's a no-event hockey player.
Yeah.
So I'm less excited about him. And, Coleman showing he's healthy with a weekend change till the trade deadline is an important thing to do. Not that GMs are wondering what he is or scouts have to go watch him, but just a reminder like, oh, yeah, this is a real good player. And if they're going with the lines that I saw this morning, he's not with the typical old Jazz standard with Backlund, which is interesting. I believe it's with Frost and Gridden, which is interesting. Okay, we'll see. And then I just want to see Parekh because he's a guy that was just kind of getting some regular reps for the first time all year and then a huge break. So those are the guys I'd circle right now.
Yeah,
I don't know for breakouts, but just curiosity is probably it.
Yeah, it feels like most of the rest of the season is going to be more an exercise in curiosity than anything else, but we shall see. Hey, you catch that Oilers game last night?
I did. I actually enjoyed it thoroughly.
What did you think of Jari?
Sorry, did you say Skinner East? Yes. No, you know what? Look, like he was having a great year in Pittsburgh. Skinner's now having a great year in Pittsburgh. Nobody wanted him on waivers last year. I don't think he's a bad goalie. But to pay an extra $3 million and have to include Kulak to make the money, like it felt like such an obvious lateral move. And it's been worse than that because Skinner's been better and Kulak just got moved out for a pretty considerable asset in Sam Girard. So if they think they've solved their goaltending issues, great.
It just makes me reminisce about the days when the Flames would, trade a first for Jokinen, move Jokinen for Alish Kotelik, have to pay to move Alish Kotelik.
Yeah.
Just the compounding things. It's just like, oh my God, why are you doing this?
It's like if you have $1 and you turn it into 50 cents and then you make another trade and that 50 cents turns to a quarter, then you make a deal like, okay, now I got 12 cents and now I got 6. It was kind of like the Eberle to Strome to Spooner. It was like trading. Yeah. You've heard about these people that try to trade up. Like I'll start with the paperclip, I'll trade up, and next thing you know, I get a house. They turn the house into the paperclip with Eberle there with all those deals. And it's not as bad as the Chiarelli era, but you start looking at some of these Stan Bowman moves. Like how's the Frederick extension look? Awful. How's the Mangiapane signing look? Awful. You're going to have to staple something to him to get him out of there. How's the Savoy and Ike Howard are going to be impact players? Yeah, maybe. How's we brought this guy over from Sweden to play in our top six. He's already gone. It's just, if you had to grade each of those moves individually on a scale, it's really the GMs that have Connor at 0 cups. Like Chiarelli, a lot of fails. Ken Holland, some big wins like the Ekholm deal, some devastating L's like the Nurse contract. And Stan Bowman has been touted as a very, very sharp guy who's very successful. And I'm waiting to see the good moves here because it looks like a big old pile of some good, some bad, some really bad.
Yeah, it's not looking great.
Never mind the Jeff Jackson offer sheet in the middle there. That was a rough stretch for them.
Yeah, unforced errors for sure. Hey, we'll let you go. Before we let you go though, we do have something to tell the folks that is kind of new that's come down the pipe with the Warmies and a few other shows on the network.
Tell me.
Pinder, what are your thoughts on Roll Up the Rim to Win?
It is basically like a heritage moment for Canada. It's a season of the year. It's an event. It's like Stampedes in Calgary here. They do the exhibition thing out here, and then the salmon run out here is this, and then they have that big festival and then there's in Montreal is F1 this time of year, and then there's Roll Up the Rim season. So as a Canadian, it warms my heart that we're rolling. We're rolling right now, Mikey.
It warms my heart. It warmies my heart because we're proud to announce this episode and the next month of Warmies is brought to you by Tim Hortons. And if you feel something exciting in the air, that's because roll-up season is officially back. You can play on the cup while supplies last. You can play on the Tim's app, which means more chances to win just for doing what you already do, getting Tim's. I was in the drive-through line the other day, and they showed me I had bonus rolls. I was just staggered, just walking out of my car back into the office, just going, whoa,
what a time to be alive.
It's an amazing time to be alive. So it's big news. And thanks Pinder for helping us break the news. Cause it's huge stuff. Hey, grab a double on the way out of the rink and enjoy U11.
I've got to roll out of here. We'll see you, Mikey.
I can't do that. See you, Pinder.
Bye.
Yeah. That is our buddy Ryan Pinder, who you can tell I don't watch his show. I do watch the show. I'm a little slow sometimes, but we are rolling here on the Warmies, and it is true. Warmies brought to you by Tim Hortons and brought to you by Roll Up the Rim to Win. It's really exciting. I mean, it is really exciting. I didn't think I'd be sitting here when we started this show in November and be saying that the place that I would go to as a high school student, walk down the street to the gas station that had a Tim Hortons in it and grab an ice cap from, did not think that would be a sponsor of this show, but it is, and we're super excited. Roll-up season is around until March the 22nd. Don't wait until it's over to realize you forgot to play. I mean, that's just like missing the boat. That's just like being, the Dale Talon that one time and forgetting that he had to sign Chris Versteeg to a qualifying offer, and he almost lost him as an RFA. More info, check out timhortons.ca/rollup. That is timhortons.ca/rollup. We'll keep things rolling on this show. We're just going to keep saying that. We're going to keep things rolling. Before we brought on our buddy Ryan Pinder, we were chatting about an article that we had over at Daily Faceoff. I posted this one today. Let's put it back up, producer Michael, because I'm really happy with the way that this one turned out. Credit to my buddy Stephen Ellis for giving the idea for this piece, because we hadn't, we looked around. Nobody's really written about this before. The borrowed stars, players who return to former teams after deadline trades. We see guys who get traded and then they go right back to where they were. And it's like they get their team's free assets. One of the first examples that we have in the piece here is Nick Bjugstad. And a few years ago, he was in Arizona and they traded him to Edmonton. And the Oilers gave up a third-round pick and Michael Kesselring for Nick Bjugstad. And Kesselring, of course, has gone on to be a pretty solid NHL defenseman. Utah was able to trade him to get J.J. Peterka. And to add insult to injury, Arizona the following summer just went out and signed Bjugstad back. So it's like they got the third and the Kesselring guy for free. And then they still got Bjugstad, who went on to score 20 goals for them the next season. And obviously Ryan Lomberg's not going to score 20 goals in a season, but I wonder if the Flames are looking forward here. They have a guy in Ryan Lomberg on an expiring contract, a guy who they like in the room, a guy who fans like, who really doesn't take up a whole lot of space. If they need to sit Ryan Lomberg for a game, they can. His contract is not overly prohibitive. And who's to say they don't trade Ryan Lomberg for, who knows, even like a 5th round pick? Who cares? And then say, okay, Ryan, you know us, you like us, you've signed back with us before. Next year, we'll give you a 2-year deal. We'll give you maybe same what you're making now. Maybe we'll give you a little bit less. And a couple of years, maybe we can do this all over again. But maybe in a couple of years, you can help us open the new rink. You can be sort of a linchpin for the fans. And I just think it's a really interesting idea. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense with the other guys the Flames might be looking to sell. But with Lomberg, I can kind of see the ability there for the Flames to say, all right, go have your fun. And once you're finished playing in the playoffs, come on back. Some of the other examples in that piece, one of them is Olli Jokinen, an old Flame. Back in 2009-10, the Flames traded him to the Rangers. We mentioned that with Pinder. Traded him to the Rangers. He went to the Rangers. He ended up missing the playoffs with the Rangers. He had the playoff berth on his stick in the shootout against Philadelphia. He missed. And then comes right back to Calgary. Flames, of course, didn't get much for Olli Jokinen that time. In fact, they kind of got negative value for him, but they at least got him back. So maybe that's something they can explore if they do move forward here with a trade involving Ryan Lomberg. There's so many different guys, though. You heard Pinder talking about Blake Coleman, probably the best winger candidate available for trade on the entire market. And I mean, we've seen in the past the Flames have been maybe a little reluctant, maybe a little just not equipped per se to make a deal like this when they're on the road. They prefer to have logistics all sorted out at home, which I understand. They did it with Rasmus. But by the same token, they're not home until March the 2nd. If a Coleman trade materializes before then, well, so be it. With Kadri, I think personally it's going to come all the way down to the wire. I don't think this one's going to be quick by any means. I think we might see this go all the way to March 6th. The rest of them, I mean, Pinder talked about, maybe if you flip Pachal, maybe you can do that now. Same goes for Joel Hanley. I don't think Zach Whitecloud's going to move personally. And then Lomberg could go either way. Don't expect anything with Weegar or with Backlund or anything else. So just some ideas that are sort of on the back burner or the front burner or what have you, related to things that might be happening with the Calgary Flames. On the, I think it was the Overdrive, the station in Toronto. They were talking today. They had Dreger and they had Chris Johnston on the program talking about Nazem Kadri. And this is interesting. This is stuff that has come out the last few days. Dreger was on the Barn Burner show a couple of days ago. I actually did watch that segment of the show for once. And saying, you know, the messaging has changed. It's no longer Kadri is open to a trade. It's Kadri would like a trade. And we saw that repeated on the Overdrive show by Darren Dreger and by Chris Johnston today. And so you'll wonder if that pushes things along. We've been hearing stuff about Nazem Kadri all season. It's hard to say. I mean, the money and the contract, the length makes it tricky, but you just wonder. You'll wonder about what's to come. We'll have a look at the defense for the Calgary Flames in tonight's game. Of course, the big name who everybody's going to be watching, Pinder mentioned him himself, is Zane Parekh. And Parekh is expected to line up next to Joel Hanley on the Flames' third pairing. The other two pairings looking pretty familiar. Yan Kuznetsov up with Mackenzie Weegar. Kevin Ball with Zach Whitecloud on pairing number 2. And then between the pipes of the Calgary Flames tonight, not surprising with the game being in Northern California in San Jose, it is Dustin Wolf, 16, 21, and 3 with an .896 save percentage for Dustin Wolf this season. We saw Connor Hellebuyck have an incredible run with Team USA at the Olympics in Milan earlier this month. Hellebuyck will be 36 years old come the French Alps 2030 games, and I wonder maybe if we will see Dustin Wolf take part with Team USA at those Olympic Games. Jeremy Swayman, Jake Ottinger, good goaltenders, but I don't think Team USA really has a goaltender of the future when you compare, you know, what they're dealing with right now, a true bona fide number one option compared to a guy like Dustin Wolf. And I think maybe in 2030, when Dustin Wolf is 28 years old, he might be the guy on that Team USA roster between the pipes. But for tonight, he's just playing against the San Jose Sharks. Max Celebrini in tow, and we'll have a look at those Sharks forward lines for tonight's game. We mentioned him, Max Celebrini. He was incredible for Team Canada. The USA wishes he was there. Max Celebrini was incredible with Team Canada at the Olympics. 5 goals, 10 points in just 6 games. He's on that top line for the Sharks with Will Smith and Kiefer Sherwood. Kiefer Sherwood has played in just 1 game with the Sharks since being acquired from the Vancouver Canucks. We'll see if maybe tonight he can get his first goal or point as a member of the team in teal. Michael Misa already playing as the number 2 center for this Sharks team. Immediately after being drafted, he has 8 points in his first 18 games with the Sharks, playing on a line with Tyler Toffoli and William Eklund. On line 3 is Alex Wenberg with Colin Graff and Philip Kurashev. Colin Graff, another Quinnipiac product, has been excellent this season with the Sharks. He's up to 31 points in 54 games. And by the time that Graff was scoring at the level that we've seen from Ethan Wyttenbach this season at Quinnipiac, he was already 20, 21, 22. So now he's an NHL contributor. And the fourth line, Zach Ostapchuk with Ryan Reeves and Barclay Goodrow. Looking at the defensive side of things, The interesting one from the Sharks standpoint, no Shakir Mukhamadullin tonight for the San Jose Sharks. He will be a healthy scratch. There was some reporting that came out today that he is not overly satisfied with that. So maybe a piece for the Sharks to dangle in a potential trade as we move forward here. Dressed for tonight's game, we'll see Mario Ferraro with Timothy Liljegren, Dmitry Orlov with John Klingberg, and the rookie Sam Dickinson alongside Vinny Desharnais. And between the pipes for the San Jose Sharks tonight, we will see Yaroslav Askarov, who is 17-15-2 with an .889 save percentage in 35 games this year. So a couple of very good young goaltenders going head-to-head between the pipes in San Jose this evening. I am curious to see how the goaltending splits work out the rest of the way. The Flames have, pretty compressed schedule for the final 26 games of the year, as do most teams. It's an Olympic year. The schedule is going to be compressed. But if you look at the month of March, I mean, as we get into it, they have 2 more games to finish February, today and Saturday. And then it's every other day with a back-to-back in there. And so it's going to be tight. And I don't think the only time that we see Devin Cooley will be that back-to-back against the Rangers and the Capitals on March 9th and 10th. I'm just really curious to see how exactly they divvy it out, because this is really a lost season for the Calgary Flames. We're expecting them to make a top 5 pick for only the second time in their history. And we've already seen Dustin Wolf play in 41 games. He played in 53 of them last year. Does he get above that 53 mark again? I mean, they've got 26 left. I think he does, but how much? I mean, are we going to see him play 60 games? It's hard to say. So Dustin Wolf will get the start, his 42nd appearance between the pipes for the Flames this season tonight against the San Jose Sharks. Worth noting, not listed for the Calgary Flames in that forward lineup is Marty Pospisil, who was the Flames' only representative at the Winter Olympics in Milan. Pospisil, we expect to be back pretty quick here. He was dealing with an illness when he came back from the games, but it will be Johnny Beecher on the fourth line for the Calgary Flames in this evening's game. And Beecher is interesting to me because he is one of 3 waiver claims on this Flames roster. It's him, Joel Hanley, and Brayden Pachal. And I'll let the chat answer this question, see if they can get the trivia right. Let's see if they can. Who is the last Flames player claimed off waivers to be traded for a draft pick? It happened about 13 years ago. We'll see if you can name him, because the Flames, again, they have not traded a player who they've claimed off waivers for a draft pick, like for a tangible asset. A zero charge acquisition to them turned into something down the road. And they have not done so since 2013. So it's Beecher, Hanley, and Paul. Will any of these guys be moved before March 6th? It's one of the things that I'm the most curious about to see, because that's just the peak of asset management right there. It's a small thing. Obviously, you're not going to get a huge asset for any of those guys. But it's just something that you can add on to what you already have, what's developing as a stockpile of picks for this Calgary Flames team. It is a stockpile, but it's not overwhelmingly so. I mean, you look at this Flames team, they made 10 picks this past year. They currently have 8 draft picks in the 2026 draft. That's just 1 more than the minimum. Now, that's skewed a little bit because they don't have their 7th round pick. They do have an extra 1st and an extra 3rd, but still, you might want to see them get back up to 10 again. The following year, 2027, again, they only have 8 picks, and then 2028, they only have 7. So they can stand to get a little bit more here. And no, nobody in the chat has gotten it right yet. Berchi was a draft pick. Len Cross was a UFA signing. Sven Berchi was a trade acquisition who they later signed to a contract. The answer, by the way, Blake Como. They claimed Blake Como off waivers from the New York Islanders and traded him, I believe, to Pittsburgh in 2013 in exchange, I want to say, for a 5th round pick. They have not traded a claimed player off waivers for a draft pick in the intermediary decade plus since. So it'd be kind of cool if they could pull something like that off, turn a free asset into a tangible one for future use. So there we go. And Pike chiming in. It was indeed Columbus for a 5th round pick. Mr. Watts 69 with a question in the chat. Mike, who's the last guy to wear number 63 for the Flemas? That's not how you spell that. Warren Peters was not the last guy, but he's the first guy who came to mind. I think the most recent, that was Sam Bennett. Wore it in his rookie season before he switched to number 93. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Sam Bennett. So that's a look at the Flames and the Sharks. We will bring on our buddy Ryan Pike in a moment here. Also, just want to note, I get it with John Beecher. You might want to see a little bit more from him. He played in 18 games with the Flames after being claimed off waivers earlier in the season. He has not played since January 3rd. He only played 3 minutes and 6 seconds in a game against the Nashville Predators. He got hurt, I think, in a fight. And so we'll see if maybe they can ascertain a bit more. I wasn't really that impressed before he got hurt, but maybe he'll show a little bit more. The other thing that's kind of interesting, though, you don't see this too often with guys you claim on waivers. Beecher is an RFA at the end of this year. They could keep him and make him a bit of a longer-term piece in the organization if they deem him to be worthy of that. He's not going to be a Group 6 UFA. He's played enough games already with the Flames and the Bruins to overcome that particular obstacle. So the Flames will have the rights to John Beecher beyond this season if they choose to keep him. Let's get to the super chats. We got a couple of super chats from our buddies in the chat. Proceeds from these super chats benefit the youth centers at Calgary, and we'll get through these right before we bring on our buddy Ryan Pike. The first one coming from Arby XJ5VO. And Mike, if we could put these up on the screen. With $279 to the youth centers at Calgary. Mike, where should they trade? -32 Weegar. Weegar. I don't think they should trade Mackenzie Weegar. And quite frankly, I've seen the comments from people who say they should. I just don't buy it. And I don't buy it for the same reason that I wasn't really all that keen on them moving Rasmus Andersson mid-season last year. I just think you're dealing from maybe a position of weakness here. I think there is more opportunity for them to give Weegar a summer to recharge. I don't think his perceived value around the league has dropped. I think his cap hit is still very manageable. And I just don't see the rush to do it. I think you're putting yourself in a pretty big hole if you move Mackenzie Weegar at this point. And I think there will be an opportunity for them to do it down the line. Because right now, in the midst of a season where he's -32, as you say, it's going to be real tough to extract a whole lot of anything for Mackenzie Weegar, in my opinion, at least. Or at least, not that it'll be tough to extract a lot of value. It's just, I think you're just making it harder for yourself than you need to. I think you'll see teams, in a year or two who are looking at Mackenzie Weegar and saying, that's a distant memory. We're not even considering what Mackenzie Weegar did in that 2025-26 season where the Flames were one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League. And I see the other super chat that came in just now. RB again, 279. Mike, Weegar is only going to decline. Weegar. I don't know. I don't know if I agree. I really don't know if I agree with that at all. I think it would be tricky for Mackenzie Weegar to have a season next year that is on its face worse than this one. Just plain and simple. I think if Mackenzie Weegar has a perfectly middle of the road season next year where he puts up 30 points and is maybe a -5, I think you're going to see more teams that are truly involved in a race to acquire him. But it's hard to say. I mean, we don't have a crystal ball, but I just think it's the sort of deal that'll be easier in the summer. We do have another super chat from Ken. The ultimate first liner is here. Hey, Mike, are you ready to dance the Rebiggle Wiggle with Donnie Mahoney? Sure. I don't know. I don't know what the Rebiggle Wiggle is. With Donnie Mahoney. It's Maloney, not Mahoney, but folks in the chat seem to think this is a hilarious super chat. And I mean, it's not unfunny, but I don't know. I don't really have much to say to that. Thank you for the $5 contribution to the Youth Centers of Calgary. Really appreciate it. We have a Pike bomb, and you know what? I think he's in the studio already. Let's let him come on the show to discuss this Pike bomb a little bit further. It is our buddy Ryan Pike, Flames Nation managing editor, who is letting us know, and who has let us know, that we will see Marty Pospisil tonight.
That is the reporting from the rink from Jarek Wills from 960. He just tweeted out lines, and the fourth line is Pospisil, Beecher, and Klapka, which I find kind of fascinating. We'll see how it works out. But yeah, the Olympian is in. No Pavel Regenda for the Sharks, though. So we don't get to see a Slovak on Slovak clash between Olympic line mates.
I think you're the only one who thought of that, Pike. Hey,
I'm just kind of choked for Pavel Regenda. He goes all the way to the Olympics. He finishes fourth. They played so well, and then he doesn't even get in on the first game back.
You know who's also not playing tonight, Pike, is Brayden Pachal, as we've come to expect this season. But there's been so much chatter about Blake Coleman and Nazem Kadri, and I think for good reason, obviously. But it feels like there's also a bit of shoe leather to get through before a deal is made for either of those guys. It feels like there's a lot of sort of clamoring and discussing and considering and whatnot, and various contractual hurdles to overcome. In a certain way, does the simplicity of a possible defenseman trade maybe make it the sort of thing that we might see first?
I mean, it's the kind of thing that Brad Treliving did every damn year, where he's like fourth rounder for a defenseman you've kind of heard of. Which, I mean, if you're, case in point, a very, very fine defenseman on another program was part of a cup team in 2004 that simply ran out of bodies. Like, bless his heart, I'm pretty sure Brendan Evans would say, if I'm playing in the second round of the playoffs, something has seriously gone wrong. And that's what happened to the Flames. Like, the Flames were held together by chewing gum and hope by the conference finals. And so in 2004, my stance has always been, it's not goal reviews that cost the Flames a Stanley Cup. It's the fact that they were sharing a farm team and didn't have enough defensemen. Like, if you have your own farm team, you have enough guys that can slot in, and you probably win a Stanley Cup. But if you're any of these contenders and you're going, I think we could do something here. We've seen Pachal play both sides fairly capably. He's quite good on the right side. He's okay at the left side. Joel Hanley can play virtually anywhere. So, like, if you're a team that has designs on a championship, those are pieces that you can, fit under your cap pretty easily, especially, neither guy, like, both guys are under contract for next year too, but neither guy is going to break the bank. Both of them seem like guys that you can use in your postseason run and then potentially flip in the offseason if you don't see them fitting in long term without really having to worry about stuff. Or, heaven forbid, I mean, if Joel Hanley is your 7, or if Brayden Pachal is your 7, or maybe you sneak him through waivers and put him in the minors, you're probably feeling pretty good about your defensive depth. So, I've come around to the line of thinking of, maybe the Flames, divest themselves of some defensemen, because if you look at the depth chart, if you look at what's coming, they had to make some room for some guys in the next year or two. And those guys seem like the easiest gentlemen to move out if you want to do that.
Fubar is asking a question in here. Pike, can a third party do the retention in a 3-way trade? I mean, in theory, if you trade them there first and then they retain, then in theory, yes. But the new. Why
would they though?
Well, I mean, you'd pay that team to do it.
But why can't you do it?
Well, exactly. But if you run out of space.
Oh, if you run out of space, so you trade a pick and a guy to somewhere for futures, and then they hold on to the pick, and then they trade the guy. You could do that. There's no rules against it, but It's never done. It's never done, because why would I retain for you unless you're paying me? Generally speaking, it's never done because there's really no market for it. There haven't really been an established market, whereas, like, we've established more or less. If you go to Puckpedia, they sort of have the calculator of, if I'm retaining X amount of salary, I should get Y kind of pick. And usually it's pretty close.
Well, I mean, we've seen the 3-ways before, like the old Patrick Kane to the Rangers and stuff, where there was double retention on that.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So no, it is a little bit different. I mean, there are people in the chat talking about the idea of doing a reverse Sean Monahan thing and taking on contracts from other teams. That's absolutely possible.
They got the space for it.
They certainly do. As of today, Puckpedia has them at about $37 million in cap space.
Yeah, I think their deadline amount is, I think it's 40 or 40. It's like 44 or 45 million.
44. That's right. So, yeah, it is an option. It's absolutely an option. But we'll see. I mean, again, it's don't get ahead of yourselves in saying the Flames will make multiple moves before they make one move.
I would be, my guess is I have them making three.
When was the last time that they sold 3 players in advance of one trade deadline? 10 years ago.
In advance?
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know.
In the week leading up
2 years ago when they shipped out 5 guys in one season.
That's true. No, what I'm saying, like, back to back to back. You have to go back to 2016. But yeah, no, they did it. They got ahead, and that was the thing. A couple of years ago, they got ahead of Tanev a decent amount. They did it on Feb 28. And then the Hanifin deal was a couple of days before the trade deadline, if memory serves. But yeah, it's we shall see. There's a lot of moving parts, and it's clearly not progressed to the point where we're seeing guys being held out of the lineup. Blake Coleman, we are expecting to play tonight. He is on the ice for warm-ups. Whether he plays, I mean, we expect him to play.
Why wouldn't he play?
Well, you never know. Maybe Craig gets a call, but we're expecting him to play tonight against the San Jose Sharks. He hasn't played in a while, so they want to see, I suppose, him on the ice before a team trades for him. But it's again, it's hard to say.
And like if you're acquiring a guy with a $4.9 million cap hit, if you're making the Blake Coleman move, you're thinking you're a Blake Coleman away from the Stanley Cup, which means that you're probably up against it cap wise. So like if you're making a Blake Coleman move, you probably don't do it to Wednesday or Thursday anyway. Like you know what I mean? Like it's not, I don't think it's gonna be a case where we see a lot of movement on that front until the bitter end, because of just, especially if you're the Flames and you're trying to avoid retention, then you're playing the waiting game. If you're willing to retain and you make that decision, you could do it relatively quickly. But I also think, they got multiple things they're juggling and entertaining. So I think they want to maintain the flexibility as much as they can.
All right. Lots of stuff to talk about on the ice and off the ice. And, it's not just trade deadline stuff off the ice. There is a rebuild happening with the Flames, and there's also a new build happening down the street from where the Flames currently play their home games. Pike, you were busy during the break from NHL action. You had a couple of things on the go. Let's just talk about it. You met another mayor. Yeah,
I've done the hat trick. I've interviewed, I believe I've done 101 interviews with all 3 Calgary mayors. I might get a jacket for it. I don't know. I don't know what the prize is for that. But yeah, I've seen some very nice, over the last decade, I've seen some very nice boardrooms. I've seen the mayor's office a couple of times. I've seen, some of the cool little vestibules and the press box that we have in at City Hall. So, I mean, yeah, it's been quite a few years. But there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm pretty curious to see how everything unfolds in the downtown area, because let's be blunt, like if let's see, off the top of my head, in the last few years, so they're building City Hall, everyone's familiar, but by 7th and McLeod.
Mm-hmm.
There is across the street, so the Glenbow Museum has some new benefactors. That's almost done. The people, if you drove on 9th and you hate everything, it's because they were doing construction at the Glenbow. Glenbow stuff's almost done. They've completely basically redone everything but the bones. It's going to be beautiful when it opens later this year. That's on its way to being done. The Arts Commons is now the Workland Center, and that and Olympic Plaza are the process of being completely redone. So I'm sorry they had to take out all the bricks. They saved some of the bricks, actually. If you go into the City Hall's vestibule, they have a little display of some of the bricks, like Ralph Klein's brick and a few others. It's pretty cool. But they have a bunch of that kind of stuff going on, too. And then when you move south, there's a hotel currently being built across the street, like to the south of the BMO Center, where Weeddachville used to be. So if you come into Stampede Park on the 17th Avenue side, there's fenced off area where they're starting to build the hotel. And then on the other side of McLeod, they're building 2 hotels, or I guess one building that's 2 hotels, but there's 2 towers in sort of one complex. They haven't started yet, but for lack of a better term, folks, remember, there's no better way of phrasing this. Remember the old walkway across McLeod where the piss ramp was? They're both gone now, and the parking lot where the piss ramp was is going to be the fancy new hotel with the rooftop bar and those kind of stuff. So there's oh Lord, there's going to be so much construction, and then the Green Line stuff on the north side, and I think we're still waiting for the provincial government to nail down the rail strategy to figure out exactly what's happening with the Green Line station is going to be, I think their term is the Grand Central Station, which would theoretically link the Green Line and the LRT system in with regional rail. So whatever the train to Edmonton or to the airport or wherever the hell turns into, that's going to be. So yeah, there's so much stuff going on. So yeah, it was kind of fun just sort of talking about just, holy crap, there's so much stuff going on. There's so many things they're juggling, and gone are the days when the Flames played in a Pringles can building surrounded by surface parking lots for miles. There's actually stuff happening in the area they were hoping to get this stuff done 20 years ago, but it's finally happening now and we get to benefit from it. So
yeah, I can see out my window most nights exactly where that JW Marriott's going to go in, and it's going to be crazy.
You're gonna miss the view.
I'm gonna move, but we shall
into the
see.
JW Marriott.
Yeah, well, if only. Yeah. Hey, did you pass along my message that I didn't give you to Jeremy that they need to build a new downtown movie theater right next to the new arena?
The mayor's not in charge of that.
He needs to get on it. I'll vote for him if he does it.
I don't know, man. Like, we at least got like an ice sheet downtown, because I know like people were so inside baseball. My dad plays old timers hockey, or he used to until the last couple of years, and he was so pissed off when they took out the corral. The ice sucked, but like it's just having accessible, like rentable ice in the downtown course. You don't have to go. I don't even know where the next nearest one is, but like, so you don't have to sort of drive 15 minutes to hell and high water to get to wherever the hell the nearest one is. So, yeah, it's. I'm sorry, they can't build you a movie theater, but
they can figure it out. They'll figure it out.
Chinook. Like,
that's too far. I think the nearest. God, what is the nearest rink? That's a tough one.
Like, because Max Bell isn't really like Bell's not really like a traditional rentable rink, and it's always booked for stuff.
It's rentable, but it's pretty. I mean, yeah, I guess that's probably the closest, which is wild. Yeah, whew.
Weird, eh?
Yeah. How was Jeremy? How was the conversation?
Yeah, he's bless his heart. He's on message. But he's I think he's legitimately excited about the potential for it. I mean, there's been it's a bunch of really good land in the close to like really like if you're going to try to get people downtown, you got to put cool stuff downtown. And I know that's obviously it's not a magic bullet. You need to have a whole bunch of other things. Affordability is always going to be a thing that is brought up, because like if you have a bunch of cool stuff but people don't have the money to afford to go to things at it, that'll be an issue. And I think that's always going to be something that's front of mind for the city. We're trying to figure out, inexpensive or non-expensive ways for people to engage with stuff. I know the Stampede's done, parking aside, the Stampede's tried doing a bunch of year-long, year-round free events. They recently did one in December by the BMO Center before Christmas, because they wanted people to see the cool new stuff they have. So I think they're going to try to do more of those. I think they have an idea for how they want to do it, but they haven't told me other plans yet, and I will wait for them to spoil it themselves. But yeah, I think there's a lot of cool stuff, but yeah, they're very excited, and I think there's also a sense of relief, because we were talking about. My first question was, we've been talking about the rink since 2005. It's finally happening. That's kind of fun. And then, we've been talking about, like, even like I mentioned, like Stampede Park hasn't really had a lot of new stuff or stuff that's 10 days a year stuff since I can't remember what
ever
since before my time. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of excitement that, such a cool area is actually going to be engaging people more than just 10 days a year, or more than just the 2 hours, 3 nights a week the Flames are playing. So, I think that's going to be kind of fun. But yeah, I think you want to talk about another interview I did too.
I do. Yeah. Well, just tear down the Greyhound bus depot, and then we'll chat about that as well.
I don't know why it's still there. Who knows? Because no one wants to pay to tear it down.
Yeah. And remediate it. Yeah. Hey, you did chat with somebody else over the break. You chatted. You chatted with a few people, but this one was kind of fun. March Simpson and Luann Van Houten were talking about the Calgary Flames and how they haven't been good for years on a recent episode of The Simpsons. Not
because Kirk Van Houten, the man who gave us "Can I Borrow a Feeling?" is apparently a minority owner now, at least in the Simpsons universe.
I buy
it. There's a writer there's actually 2 writers in the Flame staff that are from Calgary, one who's from Ontario, but the longest serving Calgary staff member of the Simpsons is a big Flames fan, and sneaks every time there's a hockey reference or a snarky reference to the Flames. It's because of Southwest Calgary's own Joel Cohen, who lives in LA now. But yeah, it was kind of fun. I saw the episode, I made a couple calls, and then all of a sudden my phone buzzed, and it was a very enthusiastic man from originally from Calgary, who is a big Flames fan. Yeah, that was honestly, that's one of my bucket lists. There were like weirdest things I've done. I have a list of people or entities I need to get on the site at some point. And I ticked off one of my lists of things I really wanted to get on the site. So it was very fun to have Bart Simpson on the front page of Flames Nation for a while.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, it seemed like it was. I didn't know that that Kirk and Luann had gotten back together.
Years ago.
I haven't been I haven't watched a lot past season 8, but it is. Hey, I mean, they're still going strong, and they're never gonna have a finale. I saw that headline. They're up
season 37,
800 episodes
on Fox, and I think it's streaming on Disney Plus.
Definitely still on Disney Plus. Yeah.
I have to do some catching up. Apparently, there's a bunch of hockey episodes I haven't seen yet.
Oh Lord, I like this comment from the chat. The Flames play in a race car arena. Do you? I play in a big arena with high draft picks. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. That's well
pretty
done.
Good.
That is well done. Hey, before we let you go, Ethan Wyttenbach, is he going to win the Hobey Baker Award?
No, not this year.
Not this year.
Next year, yes.
Yeah, he's third. He's third in fan voting, Pike.
Yeah, but the fan voting just gets you in the final 10, and then they base it on like I have no idea. I assume there's like they go into a back room and a bunch of guys with like hoods are like, all right, we need to make sure we vote for someone from Michigan or somewhere.
Yeah, they get the stonecutters in there.
Yeah, it's very, I don't know. It's a cool award, but like even Johnny Gaudreau, his second year, like his sophomore year, where he just demolished the league. Like he didn't win it that year. He was close. I think he was final 3. But he didn't win it that year. Typically, it's it's like anything where there's voting. Like I'll be disclosure. I voted for the last 5 years in the awards. A lot of it, I think, for a lot of awards, especially things that are hard to quantify, like the Selke, I think unintentionally is reputation based partially. And that's why Patrice Bergeron won every year because he's freaking good. But Sasha Barkov, I think even in a down year would always get strong consideration because he has a reputation for being a damn fine player. So I think for the Hobey, it's part performance and part reputation. But you build reputation through stellar performance. And if you're Wyttenbach, I think you're doing a great job building your reputation of being a really good hockey player.
And how about this Abram Wiebe kid they got from Rasmus Anderson in the Vegas deal? Is it too much of a stretch to say that, this is a guy who could maybe be challenging for games in the NHL not that far in the future?
Not next year, but the year after, probably. I mean, he's versatile. And the nice thing is, like, he can do a lot of things and he does a lot of things well. And I would argue, like, he might not be elite at anything, but just from talking to people who watch a lot of him in Nodak, he's really versatile and really consistent and really balanced, and you can throw him out probably in any situation and know you're going to get good minutes.
And he can skate. He can really skate.
That mobile, like folks, if you watch a Nodak game, you'll see 25 whooshing up one side of the ice and whooshing back down. I don't know if he's quite TJ Brody level mobility, but the fact that that's even coming to mind is pretty complimentary towards him.
Yeah, he can really skate. It's a really nice piece that the Flames seem to have unearthed from Vegas in that deal. So we'll have you on lots more this season, Pike, but we appreciate you jumping on this extra stuffed edition of the Warmies, and go enjoy some roll up the rim coffee or whatever for me, because that's a brand new sponsor, Pike.
It's exciting, and we get to see for the first time in 3 weeks Flames hockey, the season series finale against the Sharks. A game that potentially, the Sharks aren't far out from a playoff spot for one team at least. Playoff implications. So that'll be fun, and we get to see a lot of exciting players, and Dustin Wolf playing in his hometown.
It's perfect. New sponsor and Flames hockey is back. It's a double. We appreciate you coming on, Pike, and enjoy the game.
See ya.
That is our buddy Ryan Pike, Flames Nation managing editor and occasional afterburner host and correspondent, joining us on the Warmies for this February 26th. That pretty much takes us right to opening puck drop. We will tell you about one more thing, though. We do have a prop and a parlay to show you from the folks over at Sports Interaction. We'll put this one up on the screen. We do have a prefabbed same game parlay. If the Sharks win and Macklin Celebrini scores anytime, you can cash out at plus 190 there on the left side of your screen. We have a couple of anytime goal scorers for the Flames as well. Kadri, Coronado, Backlund, Farabee, and Sharon Govich. the 5 top Flames by the odds makers. So a couple of different options there. Of course, Sports Interaction's got a ton of different options. Every game is your game when you bet with Sports Interaction, from puck drop to overtime. It's Canada's homegrown sports book. 19 plus, please play responsibly at sportsinteraction.com/FlamesNation. And one more time, folks, before we head out, this episode of the Warmies brought to you by Tim Hortons, where Roll Up the Rim to Win season is officially back until March 22nd. So don't wait until it's over to realize you forgot to play. For more info, check out timhortons.ca/rollup, only at Tim Hortons. It's been a great show. We're glad to have everybody in the chat back with us. Glad to see some super chats. Glad to see some Flames fans. Glad to see some Oilers fans. Let's get the juices flowing again. It's the stretch drive of the season. Nothing is really locked down. There's all sorts of things up in the air, and we got to get that passion into the chat, and I enjoy it. And I'm sure I will enjoy it even further on the post-game show. It will be myself, yours truly, with my friend Cammie Kepke here at our studio for the Afterburner show after the Flames take on the Sharks in San Jose. Until then, my name is Mike Gould. For our friends over at Sports Interaction, the U Centers of Calgary, and Tim Hortons, and for our producer Mike out in Toronto, my thanks to Ryan Pinder and Ryan Pike for jumping on this edition of the show. You've been watching this edition of the Warmies.
Hey, buddies. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Also, if you could throw in a like and subscribe, it does help us out with what it is we are doing. And check out more at flamesnation.ca.